jumping on, please do say hello. I want to talk about overcommunication. It's just something that I've noticed, and I've never really talked to people about it, but I wanted to know what it was like for you. If you are jumping on, please do let me know that you're here. I can't always see you if you're kind of there, so I know that people are watching, but I can't see you when you're there. So please do say hello and tell me, over communication with this rise of phone calls, emails, inboxes, like we're getting so much information all of the time. What is this actually like? It's something. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Facebook user. I can't always see all of you. I can see Facebook user. I'm going to try and bring you guys up, but sometimes when I do that, it makes it all go foggy. So please do tell me, what is it like for you getting emails, Facebook posts, notifications, inboxes, phone calls? What do you want to tune out of? How do you deal with that? I'm very curious about this topic because, with the rise of online and everything that has happened with COVID this year, noise. So there's a lot of noise. So how do you, what are the things that you look for? Or do you not look for things and there are just certain things that pop out for you, so you go to them? Like, how do you deal with all this communication? Someone, excuse me, sniffles. Someone said to me, if you are jumping on, please do say hello. Again, I can't see you. Someone said to me this week, there's so much information at the moment that as a truth seeker, and I think all of us are truth seekers, it's overwhelming knowing. Overload of rubbish, inane info, right? So what do you do with that? Overwhelming, distracting. What are you doing with that? Please tell me who you are as a Facebook user so I know I can acknowledge you. Currently it just says Facebook user. So what do you do if it's overwhelming, there's an overload? How do you deal with that? Do you just turn it off completely, or what is it that you do with that? I'm very curious, because one of the things I do is I've got the sniffles. I don't delete anyone. I just notice that it's happening, and at some level, Joy. Hello, Joy. Joy who? I know a few Joys. I'm like, which Joy? So at some level, I think what I do is I just notice myself getting frustrated with it. And I mean, even some of the Facebook advertising, more recently, I've noticed some of the advertising's actually pulled me in, and I bought a few courses based on what I want. What I found about that is that I thought it was some sort of answer to something, and it wasn't. And then I got annoyed at that. And I paid this money. I mean, it wasn't that much, but I'm noticing that, I'm just noticing there's so much information, and even the information that is promising me things that I want is not actually giving me exactly what I want. And then I'm getting frustrated at that. So I just got curious about that. How else are you guys dealing with that? So we've got Joy. Who else is on there? Human business. So Joydeep, hello Joydeep. So here's what I've taken on around this, and I don't know, I'd be curious to. It's okay, I just let it be. You know what? I think that's a good idea as well. I think what I took on, and I'm curious to know what you guys think, is I think there's a breakdown of information going on. There's a breakdown of education. And from what I can see, sources that used to be considered sources are no longer trusted. And so now we have a situation where everyone's looking for who to trust. And, anyone can sort of show up online, I mean, even me, and talk about what I think is right and what I think is useful and what I think is meaningful. And, people are getting a voice because they're no longer really trusting what is out there. And so what we have is sort of this breakdown of what used to have authority no longer has authority. And that means that there's a whole lot of people now competing for information. And what is Caroline, you saying, I just purchased some great kind of stuff and paid to get sold to his next level course. So you found that you paid for something and then what you got wasn't what you really wanted, He's way too much rah-rah. Yeah, so this is experience. I've experienced that recently too. I bought 3 or 4 things and just the way it was worded had me want to buy. I was like, yes. And then I bought it and it didn't give me what I really wanted, but it was only like $20, so I didn't even bother. And I haven't liked that. I haven't really liked that. And yet some of the people that are giving me the most value are those that I don't even know and have just sort of upstarts and got much at all. Yeah. And they've just started and they're willing to give me all their time and all their energy and all their thinking. And, they don't always have the words to explain it. So I'm finding that that's what's happening is it's sort of this breakdown of strategy of, people getting bought into particular things and actually what we used to hold as an authority is no longer what we hold as an authority. And so there's sort of what I can see is sort of this competition of authority and how we can get people to buy into our own thing, may it be marketing, may it be a particular product, or it could be just a conversation. I mean, even what I'm doing now, right, there's an element of me talking about what I can see and even now I'm online and I'm having a voice. And so there's this rise of people having a voice. Is anyone else noticing that? I actually think this is a really good thing, but at the same time, it just adds to the confusion. So what do you think is the answer to all this? That's what I'm curious about. If anyone wants to talk about that, what's the answer? I don't know that there is an answer. Here's what I think the answer is, though. I reckon everyone needs to have a voice. I reckon we all need to get very connected to what it is we have to say and have conversations like this. I mean, this is a one-way conversation, but I'm always up for a two-way one where we start to expand and explore different things. Today I had a conversation with someone and we opened up this idea about divorce and separated parents and the impact of separation on mental health. And we had this amazing conversation where we really disagreed, right? I really, really do believe that it's time that all of us start to have a voice and start to expand. It's like, if you're not a part of this conversation, how do you become a part of these conversations? And how do you get what it is that you need without having to pay for some, stuff and not get what you really want because you're just getting upsold? I think everyone's now experiencing, I'm going to get upsold, right? Yeah, so the noise, we're kind of getting disconnected to our true selves, and the noise is no longer noise because we've sounded, yeah, I agree. That is why I really am highly recommending that you start having a voice of your own and start talking to people. One of the things that I, teach in my courses is to get on the phone and talk to people. Like, we're so online and so on social media that we're not actually just talking to people anymore, because it's all text message. I'm like, no, talk to people on the phone. Find out what's going on in their lives, what's important to them, what's happening. There's so much happening in the world right now, So yeah, I was curious about this. Many will sit on the sideline. I know, geez, I want everyone to have an opinion. And I'm all about finding ways in which to talk about opinions without one or both parties having some argument about who's right, who's wrong. I'm like, no, what if we're both right? What if we both have something to contribute here? What if we're both right and we're both wrong all at the same time, and we just contribute to the evolution of a conversation, and that everyone's opinion is valid and everyone's opinion is a part of expanding the truth on a particular topic, I really, really believe that. We need to, and I'm a big truth advocate, so we really do need to have conversations. Hello, Linda, about certain things that are just not okay that are happening in society, but we can't talk about them in a way in which it creates that kind of separation. We have to find ways in which to talk about things that are prickly to talk about, but still we need to talk about the guts of it. Today, this woman was talking about how she said that there's probably more narcissism going on and in relationships than we even realize. And I got a bit triggered by that because I'm like, well, anyone can call anyone a narcissist, And then she said to me, well, maybe there's actually a lot of it going on and it's undiagnosed narcissistic personality disorder and it's causing a lot of issues. And because we're not dealing with it, it's not happening. And I said to her, so what does that mean? We all go under the microscope? Because that doesn't seem safe. Do we all want to go and get checked to see if we're narcissistic? Because as far as I'm concerned, we all have narcissistic traits. And what is this going to prove if we, we get labeled narcissist? And then I said to her, so what you're sort of saying is you want to check out my behavior and see if I'm a narcissist and I have narcissistic personality disorder? And she goes, I suppose we have to have that conversation. I was like, okay, check it out. Maybe I do. Have a look. Let's see. I don't know. But I guess what she was saying is unless people are willing to sort of drop the guard down and have a look at their own behavior, maybe we won't be able to solve some of these problems. And so maybe it will take someone going, all right, check me out. Go on. Let's have a look. How do you determine this stuff anyway? And I'm not saying anything she said was wrong, but I guess that conversation allowed, because I wasn't trying to, make her wrong, and I don't like labels. I really don't like labels, that it got to expand something and take things in a different direction, And yeah, so many do not understand what a true narcissist is. It's a whole nother level. And I think that's what I was saying to her, Caroline. I was saying that term just gets thrown around. I think my ex is a narcissist. She thinks I'm a narcissist. Old mate Joe down the road, because he disagreed with Mary, is a narcissist. And Mary's a narcissist because he disagreed with Joe. It's like, it's the most overused term on the planet now. Now everyone is a narcissist. Why? Because they disagreed with me and they didn't see things from my perspective. Whereas narcissism is really the absence of empathy, like absolute absence of empathy, where you show no signs of being able to empathize with someone's position, right? So, and again, I'm not a therapist, so I can't really talk on this. Either way, it's not just about self-importance. No, either way, what I'm getting at and how I ended up here is what we have is a situation where there's so much information that we're becoming overwhelmed and we don't know where to look for authority. And having answers and authority and safety in our world is really important. And so what I'm advocating for is that people get to express themselves and their ideas and really learn how to do that. And not only am I talking about that, but actually teaching people how to turn it into a business. Now, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. And I did want to share that I do have, if you are in Brisbane, if you're rewatching this and you are in Brisbane, I have an event coming up on Monday in Brisbane called the Human Business 1.0 event. I do apologize. I've got such a sniffle. And I would love all of you, if not any of you, to come. Borders are open, fly in. I will be doing another one in Sydney in probably February or March. I would love you to come to that, probably February. I'm down there in February. So so Human Business 1.0, and we're going to do one in Sydney as well. And it's really about anyone that is really about humanity and people and making a difference to people, and really incorporating that, if not culturally, into their business, incorporating it like that it is their business. It is what they're about. I've met divorce coaches. I've got, Linda, who's all about healing people going through separation disputes. There's people in men's work. There's a lady that's got an app for women's only platform. We've got a guy that does housing for the people with disabilities. We've got, who else have we got? Someone that does online events so that people get to have all different experiences. We've got a lady who's 76 that does sacred sexuality for what she calls people past the midlife, and all different things. Like, there's so many people doing some super cool things, and it's all about making a difference to people, expressing your joy in life, and turning that into a business. So if you are interested in coming and being around those kind of people, or even interested in how you might create a business like that, just you being yourself, please do come to Human Business 1.0 Brisbane, 6:15 p.m. Monday in Brisbane in the Valley. I will drop a link in here just so you can see it if you are interested. I just went on a tangent, but curious as well to see all of your thoughts on these topics. And really all I'm about is bringing people together to expand our own thinking around what's possible for people and what's possible for business and people through business. I think business is the absolutely key to making a big difference on this planet. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on that, if you want to say anything about that, please drop me a line and I'll tag that in there. But otherwise, I'll tag that link in here. Otherwise, thank you, Caroline, for joining in. Thank you, Linda, Jess, whoever is still on. Thanks for being a part of this, and have an amazing evening.